Alright, so hello everyone. My name is Sub-Zero. I'm the coach of the Memphis Melmetals in PBA Season 5, and I'm here for your Week 2 recap. So, yeah, I apologize for this being a bit on the later side, and it will just be me today. In the future, there might be other guests or etc., such as Ben from Week 1, but yeah, I just wanted to say I apologize for this being a bit late. am going to be trying a few new things in this video as well. So please feel free to let me know what things you liked, what things you didn't like, etc. It helps me make the videos too because I'm still learning. So yeah, let's get into the recap. So first, let's talk about the Mo division for the Week 2 recap. So first, I want to talk about the honorable mention for the Game of the Week and Mons of the Week, and that's going to go to the game of Lin versus Zoo, and the honorable mentions being Zoo's Deoxys Speed with Life Orb Psychic, Ice Beam, Energy Ball, and Nasty Plot, and then Lin's Skuntank with Sugarberry with Nasty Plot, Flamethrower, Dark Pulse Substitute. And it was really just a matter of Lin who began the game with Skuntank putting up a substitute and nasty plotting and just putting holes throughout the team. And then later on in the game, Zoo eventually did something similar with Nasty Plot with Deoxys Speed, and it was just about them chipping down each other's mods and taking one mod after another until Zoo's Deoxys Speed wasn't able to cut it, and Lin's Megalopony essentially killed the Deoxys Speed along with some other mons with Fake Out, allowing uh, allowing Lin to win the game 1-0. So props to Lin and Zoo. That was a really good game. It was super fun to watch. That's why it made it as an honorable mention. But Mo's game of the week, I think we all know this if anyone has been um, watching the games in the Mo division. It's going to go to Michelle versus D-Bay. Um, and Michelle has been doing amazing work with Diggersby. Week 1, Michelle brought a White Herb Swords Dance Agility Diggersby that just swept through LS's team. And this time, Michelle got a little more creative against D-Bay. So I'm going to pull this replay up in a second because it was actually a really spectacular game. All right, so hopefully you guys can see this replay here. I've got Craves for Crepes on one side. For Crepes, what is wrong with me? Craves for Crepes on one side, and D-Bay on the other side. So I'm going to play it here. I'm just going to let this go here, and then I'm going to put it on fast. But one thing I wanted to point out across this is that a lot of D-Bay's mons are like D-Bay has some good switch-ins, but under like a gravity or something like that, Rotom Heat's what's it? Rotom Heat's Levitate goes away, and then it gets hit super effectively. Weezing's Levitate goes away and it gets hit super effectively, and then Steela's Flying type goes away, and then it gets hit super effectively with Steel. So Gravity was such a smart bring on Diggersby here. For Diggersby on Sableye, and not many people know Sableye gets Gravity. I, for one, didn't know Sableye got Gravity. So I'm going to let this game play out. So Moltres comes in now on the Steela, and then it Meteor Beams, killing. So this is like the standard Celesteela. Really nice bring from D-Bay. Allowed it to get a kill from the start. And then Sableye comes in and encores it, which is really smart. It was a good idea. Otherwise, Steela just ran through this team. And then the Gravity comes out. Then the Diggersby comes in, lets it charge. And then even at +2, the Diggersby will outspeed, which indicates it's Scarfed. So, very nice bring so far. Weezing comes in. Then they switch out into Scizor just for safety measures. Probably didn't kill, or was scouting for Shuka. Scizor Mega Evolves, U-turns. Then it goes out into Terrakion. I'm going to speed this up a bit. But yep, Taunt, very good bring. And then, yeah, Rock Splash Miss, slightly unfortunate. But I think it was that it wasn't too bad. Then Scissor comes in, just trying to get chip on Weezing for a later Diggersby sweep. So, yep. Like, yeah, this chip. And I think it's important to know for newer players too that Michelle right now is down like 3-5, and D-Base still has these mons like Blissey, Rotom, Heat, and Weezing still alive. But like none of that really matters in the long run because this Diggersby is still here as the win con, and to enable it is Sableye with Gravity, which is all super smart playing by Michelle because she realizes that Weezing is like one of the only things stopping Diggersby from winning, along with potentially Gallade, depending on its investment. So this is all super smart so far. So the gravity's set up. Diggersby comes in. EQ's Weezing is dead. Diggersby comes in. It's dead. I mean, sorry, Greninja comes in. It's dead. Then Blissey comes in. Blissey tries to wish. Can't really do much. Rotom comes in. So that was smart of D-Bay to keep Rotom at least to stop the earthquakes, but the cost of it was losing Blissey, which was the Hydreigon answer, if it was like Scarfed or something like that. Essentially, if it couldn't beat it offensively with Gallade. So it was at least smart to keep this too, just in case if it wasn't Scarfed. But D-Bay sacked the right things in Greninja, Blissey, Weezing, Galar, but that was still a lot to deal with. So now Hydreigon comes in. Hydreigon subs up. Rotom defogs. Now it's nasty plotting, basically ensuring it's going to get a kill on the next hit. The double, yeah, that was a nice play. If it had triple axle, I would have gone for it there. But yeah, just trying to break the sub now. All right, now finally Hydreigon goes down, and then Diggersby picks up the kill with Giga Impact. It doesn't have return anymore, so it unfortunately has to use something strong. But normally you see something like body slam or something. So seeing double edge at the end was kind of funny, and it ensures that Diggersby gets 5 kills in this game, I believe, which is absolutely impressive. It's a Diggersby. It's like a 12 or 13 point mon, so it's pretty impressive to see what it's been doing for the past 2 weeks. So yeah, and that's basically. Also, I included eject button here because the Sableye was actually supposed to be eject button, but it was leftovers. So if it was eject button and that showed, that would have been incredibly hype. I don't think it mattered too much that it was eject button because we saw that Michelle took a kill and then they went Weezing and then Michelle hard switched out. So it being leftovers actually didn't pose that much of an issue. And then Sableye died after it got a gravity in the next time, and no rock swap or anything like that to stop Sableye. So I don't think it mattered too much that it was eject button versus leftovers, but it would have been a lot cooler if it was eject button. And then Scarf Diggersby. I mean, that's the standard Scarf Diggersby, but it had Giga Impact, which I thought was funny. So yeah, that was the game of the week. Oh, I went back. Yep, that was the game of the week. So now let's talk about standings. So in first we have Waka, part of the Detroit Drills, 2-0 plus 8. And tied with Waka is both JR Boys and Anting, also 2-0 plus 8. Oh, I think I had a mistake on my slide earlier when I said Michelle was 2-0 plus 6. That's a mistake. Michelle is actually 2-0 plus 7. And then you have Joltiade and Elfire, who then Joltiade, who's also at 2-0. So you have 5 coaches who are undefeated currently. Then you have Elfire, Cruash, and LS, who are sitting 1-1 minus 1. Then Thief Yi and Lin, who are at 1-1 minus 2. True Kyoto is currently at 0-0, which I believe is a mistake. I don't exactly know where their ranking is, but just because I think the doc isn't updated at the moment. But yeah, they're currently sitting at 0-0 for some reason. That should be fixed. Then D-Bay and Zookeeper are at 0-2 minus 5. Ander is at 0-2 minus 6, along with Pikachu, who's also at 0-2 minus 6, and then Shandy, who is at 0-2 minus 9. So I would like to also preface that this is also only week 2. Anything can happen. There's still a good 6 weeks left in the season. So don't feel discouraged, don't get too cocky, etc. And then we go to the kill leaders, which is kind of absurd. We have Diggersby with 11 kills. That's absolutely crazy. It has more than double of the second place Melmetal. Um, so Melmetal and Venusaur, both Antings, at 5 kills. Then Jirachi at 4 from JR Boys. Then we have Nidoking and Nidoqueen. Nice to see them back to back with 4, along with Slowbro Mega, which is something you don't normally see. So, yeah, that was nice to see at 4. And then Urshifu Single. Urshifu Single is always at the top. You can't really expect much. And then Breloom and Palosand, two very interesting mons as well at the top. So, yeah, I think Palosand was also there for Mo last season. So it's nice to see Palosand still there even after only one game. And along with Breloom. So I think Breloom actually came from week 2. So, yeah. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it for the kill leaders. I think we covered everything. So now we're going to go on to the Heat division for that week 2 recap. So the honorable mention, I think last week's was mine. A little uh, mod abuse there, I guess. Where I was the honorable mention, but it won't be me this time. So the honorable mention I would like to talk about is Halix versus Arcadian, with Halix's Manaphy 6-0ing Arcadian, with the leftovers, Calm Mind, Acid Armor, Rest, and Surf. And I know a lot of people who've been watching the Heat games are thinking, how did this not get the game of the week? This was extremely impressive. And for those who haven't watched it, essentially what happened was Arcadian decided to lead with a lot of pressure with Victini and started V creating, which was very smart. That's typically what you do with Victini. You just claim him on. But this allowed Manaphy to come in on a free switch and start setting up. And eventually it got so many acid armors and calm minds, and it also it missed a bolt strike or and 1 or 2 hits. But basically what happened was it just set up acid armors, calm minds, it kept resting, and then it just surfed its way to victory. So big props to Haxlix. I'm just kidding. Big props to Halix and Arcadian. So yeah. Though it was a 6-0, I wouldn't get too discouraged. It was just Manaphy doing Manaphy things. But Halix is looking very strong in this season with Manaphy. A lot of people think Manaphy got a lot worse since it no longer has Tail Glow, and it's now like, what, 10 points compared to 14 or 15? But it's still a good mon. It can still do some things. So, and Halix is proving that quite well. But the game of the week, which I know a lot of people thought Halix versus Arcadian be the game of the week because Halix did great things with Manaphy, but I think this one game fell under the radar for a lot of people, and that's Killuminati versus Ice with Killy's Clefable with the leftover Stealth Rock, Softboiled Moonblast Combine, which actually did a lot of work in this game, and I'm going to show it in a bit. But I want to give huge props to Killy. Clefable is one of my favorite mods, and I love to see it actually doing work. So, yeah, I will be pulling that game up in 1 second. Let me just put up a transition scene. Yep, and we are here. So basically, this is the game of Ice versus Killy. Um, so Ice decided to bring his Salazzle, Gliscor, Heracross, Sylveon, the Deoxys Speed, which many people sleep on, and a Tauros, which Tauros actually looks like it goes in pretty hard this game. It outspeeds a decent amount, minus Starmie and Lopunny, but Ice has some ways to beat those two mods. And then Killy, not many people draft Kartana, but it's nice to see Kartana. Yeah, Killy has some pretty interesting mons too. So I really wanted to show this game because Ice starts off really well in the beginning. So Ice begins with Heracross and Starmie, and switches out into Sylveon. Yeah, Starmie hitting and then going into Raja. Really smart bring with Baton Pass, which allows Sylveon to just easily switch in and allow Caparaja to basically not get the upper hand and deal massive damage with its walk breaking abilities. So Gliscor against Caparaja and knocks off its Choice Band, which is really surprising. That was a cool bring, and that would have done a lot more damage if not for the knockoff. And then the EQ takes it out. So Ice is in the lead here. Then Lopini comes in, misses a triple axel, unfortunately, which allows Ice to get a lot of momentum. And then Deoxys Speed taking out the Starmie, which really bodes well for the rest of the team. You have Heracross, Deoxys Speed, and Salazzle, who are just going to be so much more annoying. And it's really good that Starmie's gone because Starmie was like the one thing that could have dealt well with Salazzle, like just stalling it out, other than Clefable, of course, but Poison versus Fairy. But Starmie gets Natural Cure, so it allows Salazzle's Toxicking to not be as effective. But with Starmie gone, now Salazzle can whittle down Rotom He and Clefable, and basically just neuter their power and their prowess in this game. So Kartana comes in against Gliscor. Gliscor absolutely eats it. Gliscor gets momentum for the team again, goes into Tauros. Ironhead does an insane amount to Clefable. Rotom comes in. Prediction. Nice prediction. And kills the Rotom Heat. There's the triple axle. Nice coverage play. He was probably predicting Gliscor to come in, and then close combat killing Salazzle, which just goes to show how absolutely frail Salazzle is, that it's taking that much damage from a resisted close combat. But yeah, so Salazzle goes down to Lopunny. And this was another thing I wanted to preface for like newer players, that it's still 5-3. And you'll come to see what Killy does with saving his win con here. But yeah, like most people would think, oh, the game is done. I can't deal with all of these mons. I only have 3 left. But yeah, so Deoxys Speed comes in, gets rid of Lopunny, and then Deoxys Speed is it's gonna switch out as Clefable Moonblasts. I'll speed it up here a bit because it's a bit on the stally side. But yeah, so now Kartana's gonna come in, take some hits, and now all that's left is basically it's gonna. Sorry, I didn't mean Kartana takes a hit. Kartana just does a bit of damage and then dies. But then all that's left now is Clefable against the rest of the 4 mons. We already saw a bit of its moveset in Stealth Rock. We actually saw its entire moveset in Stealth Rock, Moonblast, Soft Boiled, and Calm Mind. But a lot of the answers that were meant to deal with Clefable are gone, which is really interesting to say the least, especially if it's Calm Mind. So it's going to Toxic, but it's Magic Guard. So it's going to start setting up, kill the Deoxys Speed. It's going to start roosting. I mean, not roosting, soft boiling. The Gliscor is the one who's roosting. Then Moonblast kills that. Close combat's not enough. Yeah, and essentially, this is Killy just saving his win con in Clefable after being on the back foot for so long in the game. So, yep. And then this is just Clefable winning. Clefable doing Clefable things. So, yeah, this just goes to show I really liked how both played. There were really nice predictions on both parts, and Ice took the lead really easily. Not really easily, but like really easily in the beginning. It allowed Ice to get like a lot of offensive momentum, and then Killy was able to just save his one win con after he knew the conditions were met and just win with Clefable. So it was huge props to him. Really well played game. But yeah. Um we should be back now. Okay. So yeah, that was Killy's Clefable. Yeah, this is what I consider the game of the week, at least for Heat. So props to Killy again. Good game on both parts. Yeah. So now standings. We have Chris at the top with a 2-0 plus 9. Hallex following up. Then Gradual and Ben. All 4 those are the 4 coaches who are undefeated. Then we have Shade, who's actually 1-1. The game has not been updated with the Shade versus Helix. Helix beat Shade in a bit of a haxy-ish game, but both played well, in my opinion. So Shade is 1-1. Fat Rat, and then me. And then I believe Helix would be above me right now. So Helix would be where 7th is. I would be where 8th is. Then Killy at 1-1 minus 2 after getting a win this week, followed by Arcadian at 1-1 minus 2, Shady at 1-1 minus 3, Baynet at, well, this was actually a game already played in week 3, so yeah, sorry about that, that it's here. It was played a bit early, and I'm recording this a bit late. So Bayonet is at 1-2 -4. Dat Boy is at 1-2 -6. Helix should be at 1-1-0. Ice is at 0-2 -3. Ace Harm is at 0-2 -4. And Ginger is at 0-2 -6. So yeah, just like I prefaced in Mo, these shouldn't matter all that much, depending on the fact that there is 6 weeks left. But it's really nice to just see the stats. And one thing I also want to point out is I believe this is Chris's first draft. So the fact that he's doing so well is really nice, and it goes to show that he definitely deserves to be in the Heat division despite any potential doubters, etc. So big props to him. And the kill leaders, we have, I'm going to call this a fake kill leader, and Latios, because of, well, a game that a coach who I'll not mention forfeited and just allowed Latios to get all the kills. Like, I believe, like 6 kills. So it was a bit unfortunate. I'm going to call Latios the fake kill leader. But yeah, Latios is there. Then we have Manaphy at the top with Halix. Then Achilles Clefable. Then Urshifu single again, not surprising to anyone. We have Mega Venusaur, Nidoking, Celesteela, Boltund at the top. Props to Ben having Boltund at the top. And then we have Cinderace and Sandaconda. So, yeah, that's the top 10 kill leaders looking like. So, yeah, that's it for Heat. So now we will go on to the Wash division. So, the honorable mention. I've been a bit bullied. I'm not going to lie. I've been bullied into putting this here. But, yeah. The honorable mention goes to Hopeless versus Tark in Hopeless's Mew with the Grassy Seed, Combine, Substitute, Stored Powered, Soft Boiled, which is a really good bring considering that I don't believe Tark has a Dark type. So this allowed Hopeless to win the game. But what also really helped was Hopeless's Arcanine with Heavy Duty Boots, Morning Sun, Toxic, Flare Blitz, and Bulldoze. And Bulldoze was a very good bring, despite being it was good for two reasons. One, you don't really expect it on an Arcanine because on an Arcanine in grassy terrain that Hopeless sets. But the Bulldoze essentially was a call out for Hopeless to basically Hopeless knew that Tark's Nihilego was going to switch in at some point on Arcanine, so Hopeless was able to bulldoze the Nihilego on the switch, which allowed it to drop its speed or OHKO it, depending on a roll. And then Hopeless also EV'd the Arcanine to always take specific hits from Nihilego. So it was huge props to Hopeless for both of those sets, and it allowed Hopeless to put in a lot of work this game. And that's the reason why they're 2-0 plus 5. So Mew is broken. Yep, props to Hopeless. Yeah. And then we have Game of the Week, which will go to. I'm going to put a bit of a drum roll, even though it really just doesn't need a drum roll. Everybody knows what it is. It will be Razor Claw versus J-Caps. And the thing I will be highlighting is Razor Claw's literal entire paste. I will pull this up in 1 second because this was kind of crazy. I will, of course, be showing the game too. Actually, I'm going to show the game first, and then I'll show the paste. I don't know why I wouldn't do that. So we have Razor Claw versus J-Caps. I'm going to flip Razor Claw's perspective here. But yeah, just looking at this, there's not really a Darmanitan switch in. The Weavile switch in is also somewhat lacking. If Cinderace dies, it's going to be a bit difficult to break Skarmory, but that's just the case of what most teams are against Skarmory. You either need a good fire or electric type, but in this case, the fire type is physical. Then we have Aerodactyl here, who looks like it's going to put a lot of work. And then we have one of the best Gallade counters in the game being like Spiritomb, at least for like low tier value. So I'm going to put the game on here. They lead Darmanitan against Empoleon. Safe U-turn. The Empoleon reveals Helmet into the Rotom Wash. Just Razor Claw setting rocks. So there's nothing like too big here. It's just Razor Claw's going to get positioning now. Simple U-turn. Nothing super eventful is happening just yet. A lot of cool stuff is going to happen though slowly. It's just a lot of double switchings, etc. So now first Garbodor does that. It does the helmet, and then it reveals Thunderbolt, which is pretty cool. And then now Aftermath plus Helmet is going to kill the Skarmory, which is super smart of Razor. Then Zarude versus Darmanitan doubles into Empoleon, allows it to get the chip from Helmet, and Darmanitan is slowly getting chipped down. It's going to defog here as the Toxic. Toxic and Groudon was big. Then there's a Volt Switch. On into the Gallade. Gets the rocks up again to chip Darmanitan, Weavile, etc. And Empoleon goes down. Though Empoleon goes down, it did a hefty amount to Darmanitan, and now it Toxic the Rotom, and now there's Gallade. So Empoleon definitely did its work. Spiritomb comes out, which I believe this is an offensive Life Orb one, which it just kills the Gallade with Poltergeist. So, yep. Rotom comes out. It has to defog the Rock Sway because Darmanitan and Weavile are the win cons. Poltergeists. It's just getting chip on Rotom, which is really nice for Aerodactyl and Cinderace. So, yep. Just gets more and more chip. Goes into the Zarude to save it as a sack. I'm going to speed this. Actually, no, I'm not, because this is where the coolest thing happens here. So now finally Aerodactyl comes in. Sludge Bombs here. Doesn't do much. But then it Mega Evolves, and then it uses Meteor Beam. I don't think I've ever seen Meteor Beam Mega Arrow until now. And I don't think J-Caps has either. So, yep. Aerodactyl against Darm. See, save Spiritomb as the sack. And then Cinderace comes in here. Flips on into the Rotom Wash, and then a Flame charges. Which is pretty cool. I believe this outspeeds the majority of the team. Like even after Scarf. So, Hydro Pumps there. For Protect to, I guess, stall out Toxic. And then Pyro Ball kills it. Protect was an interesting bring. I guess he expected that he'd Toxic later. Like he'd be sending Toxics and stuff later on with T-Spikes. So, that was cool. Then there was the double here. Which I'm not sure if I entirely agree with it. But, yeah. And then Cinderace getting the win. I'm going to pull up Razor's paste in a second because I want you all to see just how absolutely amazing this was. And then he flexes here at the end, setting Reflect. So, I'm going to pull this paste up. 1 second. Because this is what we call a paste. So, here's the paste. Yeah. I'm not going to increase it. But yeah, so we have Aerodactyl with Modest Meteor Beam, Hurricane, Reflect, and Roost. We have Empoleon with Aqua Jet, Toxic, Stealth Rock, Scald. We have Spiritomb, which normally tends to run like a defensive set because it wants to be something that walls Gallade. But I guess it didn't need to. It was just Life Orb and dealing tons of damage. With Poltergeist, Sneak, Pain Split, Taunt. Cinderace had a pretty cool set too, with Pyro Ball, Flame Charge, Protect, U-Turn. Zarude. I'm skipping Garbodor for a second because I want to touch on it a bit. But there was Zarude with Power Whip, U-Turn, Synthesis, Jungle Healing. This was like a basic set, but it was Tropical Berry too, which and Bulky, which I assume was for Gallade. So that was cool. And then finally the Garbodor, which it was mild, which I think is a minus defense nature. I don't know what mild is. Let me look this up actually. Sorry, this is going to take a bit. I should know this. Mild is minus defense plus special attack, exactly. And then it had 25 defense IVs. So this is extremely specific Garbodor, which I assume it was to deal with Scarm, which it did. I'm not entirely sure if it was for anything else. I'm sure Razor can explain that. But yeah, this was a pretty cool team. And it just goes to show how creative this game can be, especially in the draft format. So big props to Razor. So we will be going back. Yeah. So that was the game of the week, Razor Claw versus J-Caps. Yeah. And then we have the standings. We have Epic Pants and Scroche at first, 2-0 plus 8. We have Razor Claw and Jolie, 2-0 plus 7. Aaron the Bear not too far behind, along with Hopeless, 2-0 plus 6, 2-0 plus 5, respectively. Then we have the 1-1 coaches with I Miss Dad at 1-1-3, Kachurn at 1-1-0, JCaps also at 1-1-0, Serp at 1-1 minus 2, and then we have Cyan Chimera who replaced Vinny this week. So you have Cyan Chimera at 0-2 minus 6, Lemon, Tark, and Pluto at 0-2 minus 7, and Phil and Shaman at 0-2 minus 8. So, yeah, that's pretty much it regarding standings. The kill leaders, we have, once again, Mega Medichams at the top. Mega Medicham's kind of like a staple now for kill leaders in this league. It's always at the top. It's always doing big things. I don't know why specifically in this league. I don't normally see do like this amount of work in other leagues. It's a great mon though. But yep, it's first. Then we have Garchomp, Teeny, Mew, Darm, Guzzlord. I was gonna say these are all mons that you expect to see, but I just said Guzzlord. So I'm gonna skip the Guzzler because I don't want to give Serp any credit. So we have Garchomp, Victini, Mew, and Darmanitan. Then we have Cinderace and Chomp, which also are mons. We have Bisharp, who's at the top too. Not exactly a mon you always expect to see. And then just like in Mo, well, not exactly like in Mo, but they both got Diggersby in the top. So, yep, Diggersby doing work as well. The Guzzlord's not there. Serp doesn't deserve any credit. Just pretend Guzzlord doesn't exist. Yeah, so that's it for the standings. That is it for the week 2 recap. Thank you all for watching. Please let me know if you liked how I did it this time, if there are any changes, etc. I was trying to experiment with something. I tried a bit of new things, so yeah, let me know if how it looks, etc. Any thoughts, and yeah, I'm gonna be trying to incorporate new stuff later on in weeks, and might have some special guests and etc. Like how I did with Ben in for the first week. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Um, but yeah, that's it. Hope you all have a good day. Good luck in week 3. Stay tuned for future weeks. I should be uploading every Tuesday with recaps. So, yeah.